Hello everybody, it is Harper, and for the first part of this video there's going to be sound issues. We're going to deal with it. It turns out the only thing that was recording the game was my microphone, so we're just gonna have to deal with it. So every Wednesday there is a get-together of the North America Grand Blue competitive scene, the East Coast scene, which is really, I guess, where the scene lives. And in the lead up to that, I swapped over my controller to my DualSense 5, and I was finding that it was making most of my inputs cleaner. It made it easier for me to do some more specific things. And so I said, hey, I want to practice before lobby night. So this person showed up. They're playing Avira. I am playing Lancelot. We can talk about Avira in a minute. The important thing to know about Grand Blue's power system is that if you use normal motion inputs, you get your abilities back faster. If you use quick inputs, which are not always a bad thing to use, I use it there for turbulence, and I use it very often for inputting supers. If you're using it for a special, like just a normal special attack, then the cooldown up there on the top of the screen will recover slower. And that's the only real catch, right? Like, it's a very beginner-friendly game in the sense that you have access to special abilities if you want, and then you're also rewarded for more technical play if you want to focus on that. This is going to be a long one because we're going to cover all of the, well, not all of the matches from Lobby Night, but a fair amount of them. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, but in general, popping in this controller made my execution so much better. I tried it in Blaze Blue. It won't work. I think my only option there is to get some sort of custom Xbox Elite or something like that. So when a paycheck comes in, I will hopefully be able to customize my controller with buttons. It's the difference is the D-pad. On the DS5, it's just the 4 directional tabs. On a traditional Xbox controller, it's that sort of big plastic one that isn't just the tabs but has all the angles as well. I actually have trouble executing on that way more than I do, something like just having 4, D-pad buttons. Maybe that's an old school gamer thing. I don't know if that's the case. And yeah, I play on pad. I have a wonderful stick that I'm slowly learning as well. But just having the cleaner inputs from the pad, practicing here is very, very nice. This is Vera. Now to get back on topic to the matches, you might be able to hear me jabbing as much, but it's not as loud a controller. Vera is a new character. She's pretty popular. She was introduced in one of these most recent patches, I want to say like 3 months ago or so, along with another character, Avatar Belial. She's sort of a big yandere character. People really like her. And so the thing is that she's super into Catalina. Which means that in some ways her neutral game is similar to Catalina, although with less just normal thrust, right? Like, she does have advancing moves, and then she does have pokes like Catalina, but the big thing with Vera is that if she lands a command grab on you, she does an install, where she will transform into a semi-primal mode and have access to a variety of new skills. Other skills that she has will be augmented. You can also just enter this mode as a super, but it's arguably more advantageous to just try and get it with a command grab. Now, I'm not acquitting myself very well here to start with, but we'll get there, right? It's a new character, it's a new player, right? Every chance is a chance to learn. I'm also not that it matters too much. I'm on a new controller, which means that some things are smoother and some things are not. One thing I'm finding on the DS5 right now is that I'm getting some errant 2-2 inputs, and I think that just is something I need to adjust for. Here, this is like normal Lance corner pressure. I didn't respect the DP there, which is a mistake. I go for heavy Rekka there, even though it means I don't have stuff there. You can see that errant 2-2 got me that turbulence there, which I usually use quick inputs for turbulence, because I don't think it's really necessary to do the... For Turbulence, it's a 2-2 movement. My moves are respectively quarter circle back, 2-2, 6-6, and then quarter circle forward for my fireball. The Rekka, pretty easy to do. The 6-6 stuff is pretty easy to do too, but I'll sometimes use easy inputs for that as well. Because the things that I want off cooldown are like my fireball, so I can use that as a neutral control thing, and then my Rekka provides a very strong backbone of what my pressure actually is. And being able to better control my Rekka now that I have a controller that's like listening to me, although that's a very bad input right there that she's gonna punish. It's you know, it's kind of nice. She does this cool thing. One thing that happens with Vera when she's in supercharged mode is that she can kind of do these air hops, which leads to some different angles of attack that she doesn't have when she's not powered up, where she's a little bit more linear. That's her projectile, by the way. You can run through it. It only hurts when it activates. You can run through most versions of it. So this is me just like trying to get used to this this whole process, this character. That's like the command grab right there for the install, right? Which is so good. I cut audio here because I scream naughtily when I get hit by that super. I wasn't prepared for it. All that air movement right there by them, very, very good. This is a player who I really enjoyed getting the chance to run sets against, and we were able to do more in the evening, although they didn't stick with me very long. I would have liked to have done some like long sets with them, because I feel like there was a lot to learn there, especially about Vera. Right, this is just like normal Lancelot set play, which is get them into the corner, and then you're using your fireball. I say it all the time, right? You're using it like you would if you're Kai, right? Like you're using like a charged stun edge type of fireball Oki. And then here, there's a gap there, so I'm vaguely able to use quick actions a little bit faster on this controller. I really wish I could use this controller for BlazBlue. I will work every possible fashion to make it happen if I can. Otherwise, I'll just have to get a controller that is my BlazBlue controller. And then eventually you'll just learn stick, Harper, and it'll be fine. Did I even call myself Harper at the start of this? I think I did. My brain's mush. So these are pretty good matches. The thing with Lancelot is, like, he is... he's not an unexciting character, but of the characters that I play, he is the one who's maybe the most direct, which is something really surprising to say, because Giovanna is very direct too, but I think Giovanna has a much more interesting strike throw game where she is able to engage in some throw maneuvers that Lance can sort of do, because his character action is a dash movement, which allows me to dash up and grab. You'll see me do that to a couple people tonight, but it's not quite the same as the movement that Giovanna has. And then, you know, the other character that I'm really playing right now is Naoto Kuragane in BlazBlue. And, you know, that's a great air throw by them. You know, like, anytime you see somebody do something good, that's nice. That overhead there gives me gap, so I can go from there. I'm trying to see what they want to do. There's the dash to go into the throw. It doesn't always work, but, you know, I'm trying to do some Rekka pressure and go from there. And I should catch them there. Yeah, I do. Lance is not my least favorite character, but there's really not a character in Grand Blue that really fits the style that I'm thinking of. And yet, Lance fulfills a lot of the things that I like. Naoto has kind of stubby normals with some exceptions. So does Lancelot with some exceptions. So did Akira with some exceptions, right? And these are all pressure characters. The only one that bucks the trend is that Giovanna has some truly remarkable buttons. The thing that happens here is that Lancelot is like a confirm machine, right? Where, like, the thing that I'm pressing a lot is not, you know, my mid buttons, or at least right now, right? It's like I'm trying to do 2 L's and like low stuff to really confirm into Rekka. So I will hit low, and they're gonna grab me there for the win there. You confirm low and then you go straight into Rekka. And then if you really want to, you can use H Rekka. Not my favorite thing to do. And now that I have a better controller, it's like I can cancel it sometimes into other things. Those are some of those errant 2-2 inputs that we're talking about. That's just a matter of like, I have a new tool and I need to adjust to the tool a little bit, even though I already, in spite of the fact that this player is mostly winning against me, you know, I had really been wanting to clean up a few things with my gameplay in this game. One of them was that I wanted cleaner inputs. I wanted to use less easy inputs. And then I also wanted to try and work on my defense, which is tricky anytime you're playing like a rushdown character. So, you know, you just have to learn to know when you can press buttons, and that's going to take some time doing some matchup stuff again, because, you know, it has been about, you know, even though there's some stuff I've snuck in, it has been about, you know, I really wasn't playing this game until before Endwalker released, so October time, November time, back when I was, my last update to the Skies of Arcadia fic was, although I added a new one and I'm working on another one. It's going to have generative AI art. It's going to be really fun. This is a different player. They are playing Yule. Yule was a character who I thought that I was going to do. Another thing to do is I need to respect people's DPs and like other things. And for the newer characters, you'll see, because I'm going to fight against that previous player, and they're going to play Avatar Belial, who I just know nothing about. I think general consensus at the time was that the normal version of Belial was slightly better than Avatar Belial, but Avatar Belial seems pretty scary. He has a fucking laser beam. Literally just a laser beam. So, you know, that's how it goes. that's how it goes sometimes. So we're going to have some matches against this Yule. We'll have a match against another Yule. Yule has, you know, tools that I enjoy in a lot of ways that made her really appealing to me as an option when I started playing as Six. Six is a character who is very in the meta right now, a very oppressive character. You might be able to hear Kevin in the background. Yule has a lot of good pressure, and her neutral's really cool because her medium buttons are pretty gnarly. Her far medium button is just very, very good. I should have followed up on that fireball to capitalize, and now because of that, I think I'd lose this match. I tried to do a wall jump thing there, and she goes over the head and hits me, maybe? Yeah, she gets me there. Yule has a couple of really interesting pokes, right? Far medium is really fantastic. Her Starlit Sky, which is her charge ability, has some, like, by which I mean not like a charge that she holds down, but like that one right there where she's rushing at me, can be really good. I think she has some very easy corner conversion bread and butter. The thing that I stress in this game is that if your character has a DP, then you basically understand how to do like really prime corner combo stuff. Because what you do is you do like, you know, you would do Sunlit Sky into a heavy series into, you know, your heavy DP or something like that. And you can do variations of that with someone like Jita, where it would be, or like Gran, where it would be like, you know, you would knock them into the boot, and then you would, and do a couple other things. This Yule is doing a, something there which was cool, but something which they don't use a lot, which is that Yule also has a stance that she can cancel too. That's her, her special, like her character action, is that she goes into a stance. We've talked about this before just a little bit. When she's standing in her base stance, she will counter all highs and mids, which is really impressive because that includes supers, something which people often forget. And then Yule's pressure is built around using Starlit Sky to push in, and then her other bigger buttons to press in neutral. She might get me here. I know I get her. That's wonderful. And then, you know, a higher level Yule might use stance stuff to cancel around and do some movement things. But as you can see, Yule, she doesn't necessarily have like better buttons than me, but she does like that advancing spin right there. That's her far medium is just really great, and I don't really have anything comparable as Lancelot. In fact, most of my buttons are pretty stubby. I have a pretty decent poke. I have I have six heavy, which is a pretty good poke, and a couple other things. But as you can see right there, that's easy corner conversion, right? She's dashing towards me, so I call her out with that. Believe it or not, that was intentional. Which is pretty good. I like this matchup, but then they decide to switch to Avira. We're going to see a lot of Aviras. When I get people with fireballs at round start, I need to like dash in immediately and mess with them. And I also, again, I need to respect DPs. I just need to respect people's abilities. I also need to, so there's a list of things I need to do. I need to... that's just like some really good oppressive lance corner pressure, by the way. Probably some of the best that I've had done in a while. I need to both be aggressive, by which I mean take risk on pushing buttons when I think people are negative, which is something I had been bad at. I need to also know how to hold for defense and wait for those moments, right? So like I can do something like that. And then I also need to respect reversal tools a little bit more in this game. So they're like, you know, it's good. And then I also just need to clean up some inputs on this new controller. So those are my big things. Matchup knowledge, obviously, right? Mental stuff is always there. Because I want to enter a tournament. The Team Spooky does intermediate beginner stuff, and I really want to do that. So the nice thing is that because this is a character that they're learning, I definitely have the advantage here. Although you'll see, you know, I'm still not entirely brilliant. My confirms aren't leading into the biggest things, right? Like I can be doing way more corner combo stuff. Instead, my lance pressure is a lot of like, I will just continually whittle you down when I know that there's actual good corner combo stuff I can do. She's putting out that projectile, which will not harm me, remember, until it actually activates. So she's basically open, and that I don't want to say that blade impulse, aka Gorilla Blade, was free, but it was one of the more obvious options to take here. She kind of wakes up here, right? I don't do too well this round. I get in a Rekka, you know, I'm trying to do pressure, and it's not quite working out because she jumps over me and she gets what is kind of like a cross up, and that just sort of zonks me out. This is what I mean about if I get the fireball to confirm at the start of the round, taking advantage of it to press for extra damage. You know, a thing that I want to figure out how to do with Lance is one of the same things that I want to do with Giovanna, which is learn how to become less linear. That's a little harder in a game like Grand Blue, where the routes that you can take are not. I don't think Grand Blue is a bad game. I like this game a ton. I think it is the best looking Arxis game, but I don't think it is always the most expressive. compared to Strive, which I know some people are like, Strive expressive, it's not that expressive at all. But it is, you know, I think, yeah, something like, you know, Blaze Blue or, you know, I think, you know, Guilty Gear Xrd probably has a little bit more expressive options. I'm in a corner and I need to get out, so I turbulence and I use L slash and get out of there. That was really intense. I think we're moving into lobby night. Yes, this is the person who is playing the first the first Avira before, and now she's playing Avatar Belial, a character who I don't know. So there's a cool moment in here that I want to focus on, but it's also like, anytime you're fighting a new opponent, like, my basic strategy doesn't change, but I'm also sitting here like, bro, I don't know what you got. Like, you got a DP, you got this thing where you're tossing shit at me, like I know what base kit Belial has. I don't know what supercharged Hell Demon Belial has. It's, you know, it is what it is. It doesn't bother me too much. I just haven't played this matchup at all. He seems to have a lot of cool comeback stuff, and he has screen control that makes you know, approaching for me like kind of scary, right? He has you know, the gravel projectile that you saw. He had those laser beams. He had a variety of things. And so my job for this matchup will eventually be figuring out how to really properly do that. I jump in the air and then I do my fucking super, which nails him. It's fucking great. I need to do this more often, actually. It's one of the things I can actually use turbulence for. If they chase me up there with a DP or something, bam, I should pop it. Now, I'm not going to win the round, but I am very proud of that. So a good reminder for me there. But, you know, it's like, I don't really know entirely what this character can do. And I would have liked to have done more sets with them, but this person, whether because we had done sets earlier or because they just were like, I don't want to be, you know, there's... Obviously, I can win against this person. It's a new character. I'm not overly adjusting too much to the controller, but I am some new equipment stuff. It's been a little while since I've played, so the deck is stacked not entirely in my favor. There's that Errant 2-2 again. It used to be that I would get Errant 2 heavies. So there's something I need to assess there in terms of my motion. That's a good dash up grab. Like, I can do stuff, right? It's like not a problem. So this is a winnable fight against this player who seems like a really fun person to play against. I would love to do long sets against them. Whether that's against Avira or Avatar Belial or whatever else they want. But also it's like, man, I'm fighting a dude right now who I just like, I don't know what his deal is entirely. And you know, so it's like I'm trying to be careful. We trade there, which is a bummer because if we didn't trade there, I think I could have done a lot more. And then I think they land a super here. Oh, that's right, I go for one and then they reverse like that, which is kind of cool. Again, I know nothing about a super, but like, say they were pushing any other normal there, then I win. But also, you know, if wishes were made out of fucking marshmallows or whatever, then everybody would have I don't know what the phrase is, but you get my point. Like, if the thing I wanted to would happen, then I would have won is not a good excuse. The thing you have to do is you need to assess what happened, and what happened there is that it turns out that his reversal was just able to beat mine, which was, I guess that was his super Skybound art, so good to know. a nice learning experience, but sadly I didn't get to fight them more. This is Six. This is a character who, like, it feels like everybody has a pocket 6 in their pocket, and then also, I said pocket twice, and then also people who are getting into the game pick up 6. 6 was the reason I picked up the game, in fact. I liked his design, and I didn't end up playing him, right? Remember, like, this is one of the things about season passes, is that, like, sometimes a character gets added to a game, somebody sees it, and you go, wow, that looks cool. What's that game about? Oh, it's an Arxis anime fighter with, like, all these cool characters. Like, I should give that a go. So that's what happened with me and 6, and then it turned out that 6 didn't quite, and maybe I should give him another try. Didn't quite hit the niche that I'd like. Lancelot's been pretty enjoyable, all things considered. But, you know, Frosty Faustings happened a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and, you know, the people who were in the top things there, I think it ended up being a Cagliostro and a 6, and they're both in the Discord server that I'm in, and damn, like, you know, like, high level 6 is like gnarly as fuck. Right, it's a lot of powerful movement. Is this when they, like, I go like this, I Rekka, look at this. They find a gap within the Rekka to do that. That's like, I can't get mad at all, but I'm really surprised that was possible. So either I delayed the final hit of the Rekka. What happened there is I probably delayed the final hit of the Rekka too long. Remember, Rekka, just short for Rekka Ken, based off a move from Fei Long in Street Fighter. We just sometimes call things what they were called in Street Fighter. That's why I very often, you know, I say, like, oh, I have to respect characters who have DPs. DPs are a very specific thing. They are Dragon Punches. They are the Shoryuken, and they have specific properties. And they have a very specific motion that you perform in order to do them. It's the language of things is standardized. This guy is about to attack a ton, because he did his friggin' special where he does, like, all the Shadow Editions extra hits. I'm like, that dude's gonna be pressing buttons, so I'm gonna do a reversal super. Because sometimes, yeah, that's entirely correct. That's a super called Ruins Enlightenment or something like that. It's basically like, if anybody remembers Third Strike, all the people who are watching my Grand Blue thing who are also old and remember Third Strike, it's like Ganajin for what the fuck is the dude's name? I can't think right now. But yeah, it's like that sort of move, right? Where you know, he has two clones behind him that mimic his actions, which means that the strikes land multiple times over. If you see a 6 popping that, you know that they're probably going to be pushing a lot of buttons, and so at least for, like, lower to mid-tier 6s, a reversal super is pretty good there, because they're going to be eager to use that ability while it lasts, because otherwise they've wasted meter, right? Like, one of two things happens. You know, they waste meter, which is great for you, or they are so eager to use their meter that you can hit them, right? You can Abare out maybe, or you can reversal super or something like that, right? Remember, when you think about fighting games, you have to think about it in terms of as Jacko would say in the Guilty Gear Strive story, which I have watched more than twice. Loss and gain. You have to. What are you taking? You're taking space. You're taking health. You're taking position. This is Gandito. He is a very skilled player. Zoe is a tricky character. I remember I played Diaphone Zoe once, and it was so hard. The people who really stick with Zoe are, like, really intense. I think this first round I do okay. considering that there's like a lot of mix-up going on, and this is I think a skilled, obviously is a very skilled player, because you're gonna watch them kick my ass in a minute. I bet you that if I was a little bit more cautious, I could have taken like a round, and that would have felt really good. Gantito, pretty good player. Sometimes when I ask for advice in the Discord, his bedside manner is pretty harsh. He's like, I don't know why you're doing this, which is good. Like I don't know, like sometimes people are like that, but I do like, when people are able to say like, hey, you're doing this thing, and this is why I wouldn't do it, as opposed to the alternative of like, why are you doing this, or you're doing this, there's no point behind what you're doing. Which, to be fair, the advice can be correct. What I'm, I think it was saying there was something about that I wasn't playing grounded enough, essentially, if I'm boiling it down. And I think that's a valid criticism, because this is a fundamentally grounded game in a way that, like, Strive, like, if I practice enough with Giovanna, I will have air routes for Giovanna. Like, what the fuck is an air route in this game? There isn't any. Not really. But as you can see, Zoe is this, like, really interesting character. She has a color set that makes her look like Link, which is very cool. She has a lot of really cool pressure stuff, because she is also partially a set play character, because she's tossing down that dragon. It allows her to command the dragon to do various things, and so it's not quite like, you're controlling Eddie or something, but you are managing a few other things. This is Cagliostro. Cag's my worst nightmare. I'm gonna lose this one, and then eventually we're gonna return to this player, and we are going to at least win, because if there's a matchup I dread more than any, which is surprising, because I think a lot of people would assume that this match is maybe Lance's advantage, but Cag has like a ton of tools. Cag has traps that mess you up and put you in place and can do damage. She has a spear that just pops up from the fucking ground, which is just like this weird projectile that pops up at your feet. She has a teleport. It's a whole situation. Cagliostro is a tiny little gremlin. There are many gremlin characters in this game, and Cag is one of them. Really cool set play. Really difficult to track down because of the teleports and everything. It's just like, and she has projectile, but like, look at that. It's like, it's hard to draw in, because in theory, Cag has one of two things going for her at any given time. Traps that can sort of zone me out, although there's ways to get past them. Or air movements, teleport movements that make it a little trickier for me to really get in there. I would have loved to. I don't know what hit me there at all. I think I use Blade Impulse and I get hit by something. I could slow down the footage and find out, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. That's a pretty standard Cag mix too, is that they'll put down the trap and they'll teleport and they'll try and like switch you. But also, like, man, Cag can be oppressive, and Cag actually has some surprisingly big buttons, some decent pokes. So it's like, you either establish a lot of pressure, or if you don't, Cag starts to play their game, right? Cag's win condition, like, my win condition is the same win condition as any other character I fucking play, which is I push you to the corner and I strike throw you. Right? It's entirely that. That is the goal of strike throw rushdown characters, whereas Cag's is I control neutral, I weaken you, I use set play to weaken you, and then when the time comes, I can push in to do damage, right? Right? It's like, you know, I want to stay in the middle. I want to play footsies. I have these pokes. I want to teleport. I want to almost like, not like a war of attrition, but I want to do all these things that harry and annoy you, either to force you to make a mistake or to put you in a weakened state such that when the time comes for me to actually spend my meter and get the kill, that I can make pretty good on it, right? And you can see that there. I wouldn't consider like Kag a pressure character, but it's tricky. You know, it's a little different. This is another Yule. I thought that these Yule fights were fun. There were a lot of them. I did a fair amount of sets against this person. When you're first fighting anybody, you're feeling them out. So I don't know what they're entirely doing. I don't know what I'm doing with my buttons, right? I should probably just like get in there. One thing I also need to do with Lance more is like just run, right? Also, tossing out Rekka raw like that, pretty good option sometimes, right? If you think someone's going to be doing a lot of advancing movement. But yeah, you can see right there. I mean, first off, rank means nothing in this game, I want to say. So like, you can fight an S person and kind of match well with them, although if they're S, they're probably pretty good. Some people never play rank. They do their placements and get placed at like, you know, B3, B1, and then they never touch it. So rank in this system, in these games means very little. So this is definitely a lower, you know, experienced player in some ways, but they understand, maybe not as well as the other Yule that we were doing, but they understand some of the basic things that Yule can do. So, you know, you have to respect that, right? You can't not. And you know, I am not super rusty, but I am taking some risk, so they get me here. And then you slowly start to feel it out. You get that back and forth. The thing I like about Grand Blue is that, like, because of the nature of the community, it's like sometimes you get long back and forths, which is really cool. This is largely a more defensive game too, which means that as you start to understand the other player, the thing that you're doing is not like, I mean, obviously I'm trying to crack open their defense there a ton with like I'm staggering Rekka pressure to do weird shit. And I thought that would actually drop them there, but it didn't. Because Yule has a move where Yule will jump back, and depending on what you do, she either attacks high or low. It's a very basic mix-up tool. Just kind of a bit of a guessing game thing, right? Like, you have to kind of RPS it a bit. By which I mean you just have to... you either need to challenge it with a couple of specific things, or you need to predict what it actually will be. I think that it's hard for me to say. Like, I like Blade Impulse because it can lead to a lot of things, but I also think that Starlit Sky is a pretty powerful tool. And you can see that's what I mean when I say, like, there's just, like, much more straightforward corner bread and butter for characters who have DPs in this game. At least that's my general impression. I'm in a bit of a pickle. I should have been able to hit there, and I didn't. But that's pretty good with the projectile. But then this is basically mine to lose. But no, I get the two low slashes, so that's fine. You know, I think having the new controller helps a lot. I think I need to go into a lab and practice, and I need to get some corner stuff down and a couple more route stuff. But also, it's like, man, I had combos for Giovanna, and they become less of a thing anymore compared to just, like, reliable strings, and I need to change that. In general, a goal for all fighting game characters I have right now is to develop a smattering of bread and butter options that I can employ that are easy to kind of place into certain situations and matches. With Giovanna, that means meter usage that allows me to use more things for like RRC or even like like weird PRC stuff. For Lancelot, it's going to end up being understanding how to do more reliable corner pressure, because I can do corner pressure, but there's also like optimal ways to really pressure people in the corner that I need to look into. With Naoto, it's going to be one way or another, whether that's a controller change or anything else. I need to learn how to do his enhanced stuff, and then I will be able to incorporate that into a lot more. Yeah, so every game has a goal. Strive, it's like become more expressive, use RC mores, embrace failure a little bit more. Grand Blue, it's get back into things, get comfortable again. That's a huge one. It's been a little too long since I've been really playing this game in earnest. It's going to be find a couple of Lancelot bread and butter things. I might message somebody tonight just saying, hey, what do you think are like some of the more reliable things that you use, because they're very skilled, Lancelot. And then I want to enter a tournament in this game, which would be very, very nice. That's a lovely call out. It's so much easier to do these now that I have the DualSense, the D-pad doing what I want it to do. Maybe a Strive tournament, depending on it is. Like, Sajam's Discord server might have like a personal little tiny tournament. Maybe I'll do something in there, right, where I just say like, hey, I am, I'm putting myself out there. It's these are just things I want to do, in addition, of course, to my writing and then like relocating across the country. Like, there are goals I have this year. My writing, I want to have another chapter of Skies of Arcadia next week. I have to do some more work this week, and then also I spent tonight doing I'm surprised that didn't hit, but I guess I kind of timed it wrong. So for me, my thing is that I would like to really sort of oh god, it's just like a bad scenario. I also, the spacing on that just like totally catches me off guard. I want to be able to enter tournaments. I want to be able to develop these characters. It's really going to be this. Street Fighter was fun. Turns out it wasn't for me. Melty Blood is fun, but it's like, that's a game I can play with some buds. I can message a friend tonight and be like, yo, you want to play Melty for like 30 minutes? And their answer might be yeah, which would be really, really cool. I don't think I'm somebody who's like, I really need to develop my Melty Blood. I just like playing Noel. She has a big old staff, spear, and there's some cool abilities in that game. And the combo system is robust and fun. Whereas with Grand Blue, it's something that like, God, Lord, I hope there's rollback. I want this game to get the chance it deserves, but if there's online tournaments that I'm able to enter with reliable connections, then I'm going to do them. With Strive, I will end up doing that with Strive, even though those are the ones where I will like get my ass handed to me. Although technically when I did my Evo stuff, I did make it to second round. So that's nice. And then what happened was I got knocked down to losers by a very high ranked Axel. And then I got a bye, so I'll take it. I got a bye, and then went into losers where this was when I was rather new to the game. Or at least, I had never fought in like a tournament at all. So I lost in losers there too. But I did make it a little further in there. And then, so it'll be like Strive, Grand Blue, Blaze Blue as much as I can, although that's a harder one to develop. And then I'd very much like to once I had no interest in it because I have no interest in the intellectual property. It's the dungeon fighter game. I want to play the shit out of that because it looks kind of like Kusoge as fuck, except like some of the characters look really fun to play as, and that just like, man, like I'll fuck with that shit all day. You know, whereas like Strive and Grand Blue and Blaze Blue, like I think are gonna require like a fair amount of you know, work being put in. I know Grand Blue, like thankfully there's beginner and intermediate tournaments that I will at least get to make progress in. But you know, with Strive, who knows what'll happen. This was cool. This was a Percival who, I make some mistakes here. I could have very easily won this, but we lose. And then they run off, which kind of bummed me out because I would have, like, if there's a matchup that I think is really fun, I think Percy versus Lancelot, partially because I guess there's lore stuff there, and then also just because they're two fun characters. I think it's a visually dynamic matchup. This person definitely had corner loops and a bunch of stuff, but it's also like I could have won. You know, I think if we had done a few more sets, like, you know, I would have adjusted and we would have been fine. But we only get we don't get a lot of time to really enjoy the thrill of battle. As I say, like I'm Xenos. Ah, yes, this is our moment. Ah, moment. No, I like this matchup. I think it's fun. This person was pretty defensively strong. Percy actually has faster attacks than you would think he does, which is kind of interesting. Which is, like, I think enjoyable. He has that's like a shoulder charge into a DP, which is, like, kind of filthy. I thought that would hit because the animation of his sword was so far out. I thought that maybe he was still in recovery. This is, like, what I mean about just, like, learn character knowledge stuff. But, you know, like, I would have loved to run this out because I've run out this matchup with other people before and had a lot of fun. And I think tonight and earlier today, not that I am brilliantly better than I was before, but I feel more comfortable, or I felt very comfortable tonight with the new controller and everything else. And I felt good in the right context in Blaze Blue. Strive is a little trickier just because, man, fucking Celestial is a battle zone. Like, it's a lacking a much better word, a zoo. I mistimed that. I thought I could have caught them there. If I did, I probably would have won the round. Instead, I leave myself exposed. Nice finish. I think this is the best looking Arxis game. Sorry, Strive. So now we go. This is Kataz. Kataz with their fucking frying pan. They're very good. They're a very good player. I'm gonna keep this match in here. Like, these are ones where it's like, I have no problem showing off like the losses and stuff today. I think, all things considered, like, I'm watching these and I'm being like more patient than I would have been even a handful of months ago. That jump in was a mistake. I'm trying to be more defensive. I'm trying to run out some pressure. Of course, it's very hard because some of the people who I end up going up against are very powerful, very skilled players. But, you know, the Gandito stuff, the Kataz stuff, it felt... There are moments in there where I go, oh, there's development. You know, where I don't see a world where, like, you know, give me a long set of 20 and maybe I can take one. But, you know, it's not impossible. The only one person that I wouldn't be able to take is, I think Spider Senpai, who's the Matera player. I have no knowledge. Like, Cagliostro is already fucking horseshit enough. Matera is very hard to deal with. I think a lot of Grand Blue players have issues with Matera. But yeah, look at that. Like I brought their health down pretty low, and you know, if I was careful and you know space things out properly, maybe I could have got around. You know, the frying pan is the funniest thing in the fucking world. This was somebody who I'd never seen before, Cryo X. They have a weird sort of style of play where like very often they're like waiting for me to push the button, which is fine, but that ends up in these situations where we're like staring at each other. And then he's great at just like doing a tap confirm into super, which to be fair in this game is not necessarily the most difficult thing thanks to easy inputs. So I do like these. I lose more here than I win, but I do get a round in, and then eventually they're going to switch to Vera, and I do better against them when they're on Vera. At least I believe I do. Gran, a fine character. I know nothing about Grand Blue. I tried watching the anime. You know, I have my mobile games that I play. Some of them I've shown off on this channel. You know, so like I can see moments here of me being patient and like trying to figure out everything, but like he does like a lot of like weird high-low like wait to go into grab stuff. They were an interesting person to play against. This is somebody who I would love to play some long sets against. I think it would be very very useful. I think they're gonna end up grabbing me. No. They tech the grab. Yeah, that's what it is. They tech the grab and they follow up with the boot of justice. Gran is like a I don't know, it's all the average character, right? He doesn't have protagonist syndrome where he's like mad strong. He just has a lot of good tools, right? Decent fireball, decent little his HDP does 2 DPs, which is really funny. But I think technically there is a female version of Gran whose name is Jita. I hate her character design. But the thing I'll say there is that I think they're basically the same, but Jita has some slight differences where I think Jita is actually maybe the better character. That's really arbitrary, and I don't have a good way to explain it except to be like, you know, they're gonna grab me there. I just think it's true. In my experience, I think Jita is trickier to fight against than Gran. Gran is kind of linear. She has like, maybe it's all the same tools. Maybe it's not. It's hard for me to say. But for whatever reason, I feel like Jita is stronger. In fact, let me look here for a second. Grand Blue versus tier list 2020. Grand Blue Fantasy versus... Let's see what this tier maker says. Wow, a lot of people have been put in S tier. Why is Andre solo? Wait, what the fuck is this? What is this list? Sorry, I'm not paying attention to the match. Yo, this list is fucking cap. They put 6 at fucking a D. What is going on here? Not that tier list matters. That's fucking bananas. What the fuck? You kidding me? Ridiculous. I don't know. Gran's pretty good, but I think that we I would say that Jita is a character who I find more intimidating. I think the difference is that Gran has the boot and Jita has like I think a Rekka sequence. That was bad timing there. When isn't it bad timing, friends? When isn't it bad timing? You know how it is. Yeah, I'm checking something for Jita for a minute. The fireball, charge fireball. Yeah, she has like these advancing slashes. So it's kind of like a Rekka. That have different enders. Whereas Gran has a boot. He has a big old boot that he hits you with. Which is, again, good corner carry. They both of the characters fundamentally have similar strengths, but I just think that there's something slightly more oppressive about Jita. But yeah, this player was really fundamentally strong. But sometimes you go up against people who are fundamentally strong, and it's worth it because you learn how to adjust your own pressure. You can see there are moments where like we're facing off and we're just like, all right, who's gonna move, dog? And it turns out it's mostly them. Kind of watching this one a little closely now. Can I turn this around? This is really tricky. Like, we'll see. No, that grab is pretty gnarly. Yeah, that grab there is pretty good too. So he does very well. I think there was one that I won there. I was talking about the two characters. They've swapped to Avira, and Avira has that advancing slash. Avira without the install is like not too scary, but you still have to respect her. I mean, you have to respect any character that you're going up against. But Avira is kind of an interesting character to deal with. Because of the way that her projectile works, it's like she can use it kind of like as an Okazemi tool and a couple other things, and she has those advancing slashes. The scary thing is though is when she has her install, because then she has a lot of air mobility that characters in this game don't usually have access to. So as long as you're not letting her get the command grab, which, Viras are sometimes very eager to try and go for, then you can deny her a lot of very useful tools, which is pretty good. Her advancing move, what is it called? Now that I'm on the internet for a minute, what is it even called? She has a couple. She has one called Darkane, which is another thing, and then she has Scarlet Oath, which is this advancing series, which can do heavies and like ground bounces and stuff. So she has some cool options even when she's not transformed. And so she's running at me. They ain't blocking. Sometimes you can just toss out raw supers and it's fine. Don't worry about it. I don't worry about it. Well, I do. I worry about it constantly. Vera is, she has that advancing thrust move, right? She has that, those boom, 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 boom pressure, moves right there. And you can see, she does have that sort of normal, very solid, corner carry sort of thing that DPs enable in this game. And then she, the player used, that's surprising to me. The player used, when I saw the projectile, I thought maybe that was my chance to do it. The player just installed raw, which is fine because they're going to run up and grab me. So, yeah, I don't know. I was chatting for a bit. Vera is a fun character who just like seems like way too much of a great time to not play. And if I wasn't so interested in actually developing Lance and like learning and like maybe finally making good on my promise to become, more fundamentally strong at this game, then you know, Vera would be a character I would experiment with for sure. Just because sometimes you want to play characters because they seem fucking fun. I thought that would have hit. I thought they were descending fast enough, so I think they got me here. It's hard to tell. Remember, fights aren't over until they're over. So, we're in a situation. There we go. The crossover. So yeah, another good lesson that I've learned from Strive is a fight is not over until it is over. You have to fight as if every second counts. Even casually, right? The more that you can ingrain that into your mind, the better. That's a great poke right there. That fucking stab. That's her forward medium. Another very good one. Almost like, you know, Yule. The good thing about Yule's forward medium is that it moves her forward. The thing about Vera's is that it has long reach, and then Vera has a special which actually is an advancing a series of strikes. So some decent neutral stuff, but really the big threat is what happens if and when they get you. That's a big grab. So I get got there. Do I fight them again? I do. This is I just think this is enjoyable. I thought that maybe they were gonna attack. You can see, like, this is what I'm talking about when I say that this fella has an interesting little style where he will stay there blocked for a fair stretch, and then eventually he'll like explode. Which I think is very funny. I might lose this one here, which is fine. Yeah, look at that poke. That's a good poke. You know, is it quite a Catalina poke? I don't know, it's close. You know, it's pretty good. There is neutral stuff going on with Vera there. That's a jump in that, you know, some people would say, like, what was the motivation behind that jump in? And the answer was I had a sense that I could jump heavy and combo in there, and I did. Right? So, you know, flashback to that conversation from before. Good confirms there. This player in general, I think, has really good confirms. I think Vera is just like a joy to watch. She is so fucking entertaining. Yeah. So these are ones where I lose out, but it's fine. It doesn't really bother me. And now we're back to the CAG that I was facing before. Where, you know, what am I doing to deal with the pressure? And the answer is, get the fuck in there, you piece of shit. I'm gonna try and mix up what I can. I'm gonna high-low you. I'm gonna just keep on tossing things out, lady. Although I think CAG is actually some sort of ageless alchemist from times past who keeps on putting their spirit in different bodies. So what the fuck ever. I don't care. Grand Blue lore. I say, even though I'm somebody who's like not entirely against Guilty Gear lore or Blaze Blue lore to an extent, that spot dodge on my super is really great. There are a couple of people who can do that really well. Carrie is one of them. You've seen Carrie on this site if you've watched any of my Grand Blue stuff before. But as you can see, like, yeah, projectiles, these traps, approaching is dangerous. And so I need to start asserting myself and just, like, doing whatever I can to really toss out some pressure. Because, goddamn, like, CAG's just got a ton of stuff. Just like a shit ton of stuff. And that can go through projectiles, or at least that projectile. So that's why I do that there. Lancelot's not like a super honest character, because some of the wall jump stuff and other weird things he can do, like, is crazy at high levels. But, you know, like, my dude don't have a teleport. My dude don't have weird traps and a bunch of other stuff. What's Giovanna got? She got a dog, and she got some kicks. Naoto has some enhanced stuff, but he's mostly a guy who punches everything in a game full of people who are just like the most magical, weird motherfuckers on the planet. I'm not saying I play normies, but I do play, I think by definition, to an extent, rushdown characters end up being, there we go, we get the poke. Because their game plan is already so oppressive, that they don't get all these extra weird tools of like, you get to teleport or do this. You know, the closest thing I could think of to recently a character that I thought had like really good up close pressure, but also had like some really gnarly mobility stuff is Hazama from Central Fiction, and there's probably a couple others as well. I mean, the other one, if you're talking about Central Fiction, would be like Valkenheim. But Valkenheim is hard to manage. But as you can see, like, this is just like, yes, I got my win, but also, like, Kag's a little fucking demon. Cagliostro, a little fucking demon monster. Absolutely bananas. Trying to do what I can. Trying to do my best. You know how it is. Trying. So I'm just trying to find good ways to work here, but it's hard because you're just getting knocked around. I accidentally dashed into a trap because that's a thing that can totally happen. So there you go. You get the victory. You get the humiliating defeat. And I think we get one final rematch, and I'm gonna show it because why not? But as you can see, it's like, dude. You get projectiles, you get spears that just pop up. You just get spears that pop up. You get a bunch of weird shit. Kag is like, you can tell like which characters are DLC characters, and Kag is a DLC character. Lance is not a DLC character. That's just how it is, right? That's almost like, you can see that in Strive too, where it's like, okay, like, oh, Kaikisk, and like who's the most complicated character in base Strive? Was it someone like Milia? And even then, it's only difficult for a variety of reasons. So I guess it would be Zato. And then you get fucking in this Behemoth Typhoon, and then Jacko, and a bunch of other shit, and all sorts of nonsense. The most basic one we finally got was Baiken. So, you know, you can definitely tell it's like, oh, Avatar Belial, that dude can shoot a laser beam from across the screen. Oh, like, that's a DLC character. Oh, Cagliostro, a bunch of traps and other weird stuff. That's a DLC character. What does your character do? Lancelot? Well, he's fast and he has swords. And they're like, that's it? And I'm like, sometimes that's all you need. What's Gio's deal? She's fast and she has a dog. What's Naoto's deal? He's fast and he has blood swords. I'm a very simple creature. You know, that's just how it be sometimes. They get me there with the teleport. Oh god, imagine having a character with a teleport. Imagine playing like Izanami or something. And just having a teleport and a shield and a bunch of gnarly stuff. I think I tell this person, thank you. Which is very, very nice. Yeah, we have this long waiting period where I'm just vibing around. Trying to look for people to match up with. This is just like a downtime, right? A little bit of downtime. Also means this is just clearly something I didn't edit out. But, oh, I think somebody does come up for a match here. Because we are getting not entirely to the end of things, but, you know, further along to the end of things of this video. These fights felt okay. There's like ways in which I'm playing now where I feel different than what I was playing even 3 months ago when I was playing this game more. I think taking a break to clear my head and to rethink exactly how I should be playing a game like this was very helpful. Doesn't mean that everything was perfect. You know, there's a lot of growth that needs to be done. I need to really figure out some important things for Lance that allow me to really there's two things I want from Lance, and it's optimal corner stuff, and then also I want to get better at opening people up. With Geo, it's easy. You hit them, and if you don't hit them, you dash like 3 times and you throw them. This is Matera. This is a high-level Matera. This is why I'm gonna. This is a person with 17k wins. I don't mind fighting against them. You learn something, and I think this first match is like, you know, we assert some energy going forward, but then also like, man, look at Matera. Look at Matera go. It's like, how do I even, at this level of gameplay, this is why I'm excited to do like intermediate beginner tournaments, but also it's like, Jesus Christ. I fought against, maybe it was Senpai Spider. No, I think it was Mina. And they did a long set of Matera matches against me where I did start to learn a lot of stuff, but it's also, that's not in my brain right now. It really is this situation of like, just look at that, right? And I think I learned stuff from here. I think I learned how to structure a defense just a little bit. But also it's like, there are situations where sometimes a fight doesn't really get you much. This is one of them. And that's nothing against the player. Right, I'll take the match all the time. You have to take these matches. This is just part of the experience of playing a fighting game. But at the same time, it's like, what did I learn? Well, I learned how to get like triple perfected by a Matera. It reminds me of the things I need to learn, which is like, how do I approach this fucking lady? Like, look at her. That's bananas. And she has a hop-in, which I guess I should be, like, universal anti-airing, but it's, like, it's really hard. So I think we get 2 perfects here, maybe even 3 in this entire thing. And so it's, like, that's great, but also, you know, what did I really get from that? It's hard to say. It's, sometimes you just get beat the fuck up, which is good for your ego, but also bad for your ego. You catch my drift? You catch my drift? Trying to find the right emote to bow for them. I'm having trouble finding it because I'm on the new controller. It doesn't really matter, but this is like lobby night every Wednesday, by the way. 7 ET. In New York 1. This game needs some motherfucking rollback. It's the one thing it really needs. It came out in 2019. Then, I don't know if y'all have heard, but a global pandemic happened. And that was a whole situation that just went down. You know what I mean? was kind of gnarly. It's kind of gnarly. Now we get another Vera. Somebody who's kind of newer with Vera. So not too bad. I don't think we fight them too many times. But it's worth learning. I think we have some frame issues here a little bit. What's her name? Yeah. They are, yeah, I'm trying to do some run-up pressure after that projectile, right? Because the projectile is also... Why do I throw a projectile as Lancelot? Well, largely, I'm throwing the projectile... I'm using it often as an Ogazemi tool, but if I'm throwing it out of neutral, I'm using it to, not as a damage tool, right? It's great if it does damage. That's a benefit of it. But the thing that matters to me is that I am taking space. So if I am forcing a retreat or if I'm forcing somebody to stay put while I approach them, then that's a totally, useful reason to toss out a fireball. At least one that moves at that speed, right? I don't know, you can't really do that as Ryu. Maybe you can. Maybe Ryu has a super slow fireball. Now we're just trying to play something resembling neutral for a bit. One thing I like about this is that if I use Japanese voices, I hear my character in Japanese, and then if they use English, their character speaks English. It's kind of a unique situation. It's a good way to hear all the different voice acting, which I think is kind of fun. So now they've installed, but they've not done a lot. They did do some air movement there, but they kind of missed their chance to do a great deal. You can see a lot of that air movement is great, but this player pretty fun, but they were pushing some buttons there, so I was able to do a little bit. But now we're in a neutral war. And I run in, and I think I was in the process of trying to do an overhead, and so that's they got me. Otherwise, that's another case of you use meter for one thing in this game, and it's supers, so you just gotta keep your eyes out for those. Right, you're not using them for RCs, you're not using them for augmented XYZs. You are just tossing out reversals or other things, which is totally worth it, right? Totally fun. Totally, does she kill me here? No, but it's very powerful, very strong. So I just gotta hit her once. There we go. We drop down. We do the 2L stab. Which is kind of a fun one to do. And I think we do one more. Then eventually there's gonna be a match against Charlotta, a bunch of gremlin stuff and some other things. This was I've posted videos from other lobby nights where I've been more obviously frustrated or something, and I think it was a really good decision to just come back after having played some other games, replacing the controllers so the gameplay experience feels nicer, and then really going from there. I'm gonna try and look up every possible source I have for getting a DS4 or even the DS5, but really, or even a DS4 working for BlazBlue. I think it would just make a world of difference for my execution in that game. I mean, ideally, I have a lovely fight stick that I really need to work on, but it's it's kind of tricky. So you gotta work your way through it. So having at least a pad right now that I find reliable is really nice. All I want, there's two things I want. I want Skies of Arcadia on PC. I want Grand Blue Fantasy Versus to get rollback. This game, it deserves it. Like, it just really should happen. Those are the things I want. There we go. That's actually, like, nice. 2-hit confirm into the special. That's something I should try and do more often. That's what I mean about doing, like, optimal things, better confirms. And I think that only would have really been possible with this controller. So that's pretty nice. Do we... What is going on? Do we do another? Or do I say thank you? GG's. I'm trying to be pretty confident and pretty nice. My Strive stream, like, there was some negativity there just because I felt like I felt so nervous. Incredibly nervous. You know, and that was just a whole situation of something I need to fix. I like these games. I wish that more people were eager to share in my enjoyment of these games. By which I mean, there's the person right there. That was the Yule from before, I believe, so we give him a good little bow. I wish that, like, I could share this with more people on YouTube, with Twitch or whatever, but also, like, my aspiration was never to be a Twitch streamer. I stream less now. I could build something if I wanted to, but do I want to? No, because the next couple days, what I'm going to do is tomorrow I'm going to get a handful of work writing done. I'm going to put out a newsletter on Friday, and then through all of the weekend, I'm just going to write the next chapter of my story and really devote myself to that creative aspect, right? The fighting game stuff has been a mental boon. You know, it's been a way for me to really grow mentally as a player, which is very exciting, and as a person as well. So now we're just sort of vibing again. We're in the vibe zone. I don't know how long we're in the vibe zone. Not too long, I don't think. But you know what? It's fine to just have segments of a video where you're just chilling. People have told me that I have a pleasing voice. I think they're full of shit. I feel guilty about my voice. I wish I should... I always feel like I'm obligated by some sort of weird gay oath to do more stuff with my voice as a trans person, but I don't know if that's true. You know, it'd be nice, but it's not necessary at the same point either. I have a video file here that's just chilling, and what I am going to do is I am going to you know what? I'm just gonna run it out. There's a timestamp. Someone's gonna come up. I'll timestamp a lot of these. I have to go back and I need to timestamp the Strive stuff. I need to go through all the fighting game videos that I've been posting and really show them. Grand Blue's nice. And I'm really excited to grow in this game. I need to consider resources. I think this is one where labbing is not going to feel as... I don't dislike labbing in Strive, but I find some of the stuff you do in lab for Strive is like, you find the few things that are really solid and reliable, and that's it. You know, for me at least, my mind's, I have trouble doing lab stuff or a lot of pre-planning stuff because I like playing by feel. I like writing by feel. I remember somebody asked me, you know, all the games criticism I did, what were my outlines like? And I was like, what the fuck is an outline? You can't quite do that in a fighting game. You need to know certain information. There are ways in which fighting games become like math, which is like, not anathema to me, but for me, fighting games are about an experience. They're about an emotion. They're about individual situations that you then adjust to. You know, the the nerds who know frame data get a little extra from knowing frame data, but at the same time, you know, whatever. Let's go over here to this person. I think, was this the person who had a they might have had a bad connection. This is why I want to roll back. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong person. But I could be thinking very much of the correct person. If this is actually, there's a Catalina I fight, or, you know, I fought tonight, which was just, I was fighting in soup. No, this is Jita. Jita, like I said, I don't like her design. I'm just putting that out there. I don't like it. She has like this ribbon thing on her chest. It's stupid. It's a little too much of like a Sailor Fuku type thing, and I don't think that's interesting. I got hit by a big old fireball. This player jumps a ton, which signals to me that they're newish, although they do know some things. I think I lose this first match. Like any first match that happens with me, I sort of underestimate people. Or maybe I don't. I know I do lose to them at least once. I think some of that is also me not remembering how some of Jita's moves works. Which is to say, like, she has some of her advancing slashes are like 5 hits, and there are times where I'm like, well, a 4th hit came out. Surely another hit isn't coming. And the answer is, yeah, a 4th hit is definitely coming. And she gets me there with a reversal super, so good for her. I can't be mad about it. I can be mad about Strive stuff when I have a lot of disastrous situations in Strive. In Grand Blue, like right now, it's like obviously I do want to develop into a player who can pull some stuff off, but like, you know, I'm too old. I'm too, like, no, I'm not, well, I don't know. You're never too old for competitive gaming, I don't think. I think that's a lie. Daigo's like fucking 40 and he's ripping shit all the time. He put on a do-rag and he kicked everyone's ass. I'm in my 30s. I am in my young 30s. And, you know, I don't feel like there's a, you know, it's hard to say because maybe I would have been better when I was in like my 20s or you know, doing it in college. But then like, what would I be playing in college? I'd be playing like maybe Blaze Blue, maybe a little bit of Midnight Carnival. I don't even know what it is. Midnight Carnival was like when I was in high school or something. I feel like, you know, I think it would be like Xrd or no, maybe not Xrd. Definitely, it would be like Street Fighter 4. But, you know, and maybe I would have been better at it, and maybe I could have learned to, you know, have a stick and adjust to that a little bit more. But for me, it's like, I don't feel like a shittier player because I'm 32. I feel terrified about my mortality because I'm 32, but I don't feel like my age is preventing me from being good at fighting games. The only thing that's preventing me from being good at fighting games is my own mental hang-ups, a lack of like just pouring hours in it the way that some people do, because I also like to write and do other things, and I also have a career. Although some people with careers do fine. Right, so... See, I tried that there because I thought maybe, like, after they tossed out their super, like, they would be vulnerable for a bit. But I guess my point is that, like, yeah, I'm gonna compete in tournaments. I'm gonna try and do better in Strive. I'll end up streaming stuff more, a bunch of different things. But it's you know, it's part of me wishes I did this sooner. But also the games that I've gone in on are these new ones that are really nice. Except with the difference of, like, maybe it would have been nice to be in on Central Fiction when it was coming out, and then maybe I could just play Naoto and be good at it. We're getting lag on the stage, I think specifically because of those airships. So it's kind of affecting my ability to do a lot right now. But maybe I think we're also getting some delay frames. There's 2 stages that they really encourage you to play online in Grand Blue. One is the Colosseum, and the other is like the one that I use, which is like that Celestial Overlook or whatever the fuck it is. They have a little amounts of lag. The same thing happens in Strive. There are certain stages that you want to use that have the least amount of lag, just as a courtesy to other people. For some tournaments, I know for this game, you can't use anything other than like Colosseum or whatever, so I think they get me here. Yeah, they get me with the advancing slashes, so good for them. Yeah, I feel like I'm repeating myself. What's gonna happen is I'm gonna finish recording all this, which is, you know, I got like 15 more minutes. And then I'm also going to make a sandwich or something because I'm hungry. It is midnight-ish. You know what I haven't had all day? An actual meal. You know what I don't do? I don't eat. And yet somehow I went from 146 to 150 recently. I don't know what it is. I think there was a period of time where I was like, I can have a burrito. The answer is, how many burritos can you actually have, friends? Don't be like me, Brendan, is what I'm going to say. Yeah, that super can sometimes go through Projectile, so you do that. So I'm going to make some food. Or I'm going to assemble the world's crappiest sandwich, and that'll be okay. You can see that I think Jita is like... I think Jita's pressure is more scary, if only because of that advancing sword super, right? Gran's got that boot and stuff, but it's like, am I afraid of the boot or am I afraid of like the pseudo Rekka? I think I'm more afraid of the pseudo Rekka than I am of the boot. Yeah, there it is again. As that airship goes by, we get slowdown, which just like totally fucks me up. And then there you go, Projectile. Ain't that nice? And then who are we gonna get next? Oh, this is one Charlotta. I think this is a Charlotta who I beat, and then later on there's a Charlotta who I'm like, I will fight you, and I wasn't able to defeat them because sometimes you just can't defeat them. We have a lot of delay frames on this one though. This is the stage that I use because there's very little lag. I might just actually play through the story mode in this, but the thing is that it's like a pseudo RPG mode with like card collecting that I just don't give a shit about. Like if it was just like go from encounter to encounter and fucking fight shit, then I would do that. I might go into the Discord and be like, hey, friends, I want to fucking experience the story of this game so I understand a little bit more about what's going on, because I do like the lore of games that I play. And so I'm gonna ask 2 things when this is over. I'm gonna ping my Lancelot expert and I'm gonna say, what are your favorite bread and butter combos? What are the things that that you think I should have in my arsenal now that I am genuinely considering going into tournament? And then you know, I would say hey people, is there an easy way for me to enjoy this story mode without having to engage with too much of the superfluous other shit. And we'll see about that. I don't really know the answer, but I like the Guilty Gear story modes. I like it in Xrd. I like it in fucking Strive. Strive is just not Black Hawk Down, excuse me. Olympus Has Fallen. You know, White House Down, whatever the fuck. Except it's sole bad guy and the president, a wonderful fella named Vernon with a cybernetic arm. And then Happy Chaos is there, and Happy Chaos is like the fucking... I love that dude. I had an entire villain in my FF14 stories that I've been making for... because I RP on servers, right? Like, a lot of people say RP is like, oh, cyber sex. It's like, no, we make like stories. We treat it like a front end. We almost treat it like Roll20, and then we use it to tell stories set in that universe. I had a character that like had a lot of Happy Chaos in him, had a lot of other characters in him. Happy Chaos, I think right now, out of any character in any game right now that I dread facing, it is definitely Happy Chaos. Yeah, we're getting some frame delay here. That's just like really bad. This is like delay 14. Like Jesus Lord. It's pretty gnarly, which is a total bummer. Like I said, this game needs rollback. Delayed netcode is not terrible, like inherently. I don't think anyway, right? But I think that rollback has proven itself to be the solution that games need. This is a game that did not have a solid delay-based, you know, like its delay code was kind of scuffy. COVID hit, and the lack of events for that, you know, for people to go to, meant that what could have been a very thriving game is now one that is maintained by a lot of enthusiasts. It is still treated with some level of respect in the FGC. I like that dive to get behind them for the slash low. Oh yeah, this is another one. So I wanted to show you another slow one. This is I don't even know what our delay frames are, but this is why you put rollback in your games. I think this is very funny. Other people might not be so amused. And while we enjoy the spectacle, give me 2 seconds. BB, Central Fiction, Dual Sense Controller. I don't know. Controller not working? You need to go to settings and then controller configuration and then allow the controller type. We're to find that out later, friends. But for now, you get to watch the little match that could. Catalina was a fun character. She was who I started with just to like learn the basics of the game. You don't really see Cat play too much anymore, just because I think there's characters with more sauce. But I think a well-played Catalina is fucking scary, right? Because like, if they are defensively strong, then they are able... That's a good dash under a projectile. Granted, I'm moving at like 2 frames per every hour. But I do like this idea of Catalinas who are very defensively strong and then can do a lot of stuff in neutral. Like, I think the people who stick with Cat remind me a lot of the people who play Kai in Guilty Gear. Not because I think they're similar characters. I actually think, arguably, there are certain ways in which Lancelot has more similarities with Kai. But I will say that in terms of like you know, net neutral play, and then characters who are very often defensively strong. Like Catelyn is on that list, and then Kai is on the list. Kai players are fucking defensive beasts. I have no clue why that is. But I think it's also because I'm Giovanna and I like pushing buttons and I need to be more patient. One of the biggest lessons I've been learning from Central Fiction, and also that I was trying to apply tonight during these matches, was like, don't always rush. Sometimes it's okay to let people do their strings and then punish their strings. Or like, you know, in the Central Fiction stuff that I posted, I was fighting Celica. Or no, it wasn't Celica, it was Izayoi. Izayoi is a character who can teleport, who has a sword, who has a bunch of stuff. And my approach of like really trying to rush them down wasn't working. So I moved slower. So a thing with rush down characters is that you, depending on your opponent, you modulate your pace. This is the fucking little gremlin that I couldn't beat. Which isn't to say that, like, I could not beat them. I think I could. I think this is, again, just, like, gotta get some rust shaken off from the game. From my experiences with the game. That empty jump there is, like, pretty smart, and I don't know how much of that is them intentionally knowing to, like, get rid of a jump. I think it is. They do twice in a row there, so it feels very intentional, but it's also like sometimes people just jump. So who the fuck knows? Great air grab from them. Very nice to see. Charlotta is just like pretty funny character. She's not too bad though, right? Like she has she's a lot of cool mix up. Her attacks are deceptively, like, the ranges that they can hit from are pretty cool. You know, what's the big one for her? She has this attack called I think it's Holy Ladder. No, it's no, it is. It's Noble Strategy. I got them confused. Noble Strategy is one that is a different type of movement tool. It's like these weird flips that jump high or do different arcs, and then you can do different stuff off of them. So if you do no input off of them, you can do a low, you can do a dive, you can do an overhead. So there's some cool stuff with her, right? And then she does that fucking, I'm gonna slash you a bajillion fucking times. Her unique action is a parry, which I think you see a couple times here, maybe, but it doesn't get used very often. It's kind of like the Huckleman parry, right? Just not entirely like that. And then she also has a Blanca Ball. I think she's a charge character. Might be wrong. Could be wrong. Anytime I hear the phrase Blanca Ball, I go, oh, charge character. Not entirely true. That's a decent reversal super, if I've ever seen one. That is Schoner Winterhugel, as I say with like a bullshit accent. Lancelot's special abilities are they're all very fancy. They you know, his Rekka is called Southern Cross. His Fireball is Wogenstrom. And then also you get Turbulence, and then you get Weissflügel, and then Schoner Winterhugel, which is respectively White Wings and like fucking Winter Hill, Winter Mountain or something. I don't know. If you like Attack on Titan, first off, you might be a fascist. But secondly, or at least you might at least like fascist iconography. Secondly, you might also like the name of some of Lancelot's special abilities. If you've ever Lindetorheit or Flugel der Flyheit, then you definitely want to Wogenstrom, or at the very least, enjoy a nice, refreshing glass of Schoenriederhugel. That's so silly. Attack on Titan, I think, finally ended. Isn't that so funny to think about? Like, the world, like... You're like, oh, that thing that's been around forever. I remember when that came out. Not that I care for Attack on Titan. If you haven't noticed, I very clearly don't. But also, you know, interesting show. I'll watch the final episode. Fuck it. Yeah, I dropped that there. This is such a bummer, like, these matches here, because, like, these are, you can see there are just mistakes being made that I need to be more cognizant of, because I could definitely win against this player. They're very good. Anybody I've lost against tonight, even the people who, you know, I've beaten more than I've lost to, like, they've earned those wins. They've earned them, right? There's no point tonight where I've been like, fuck, I've been robbed. But I think we end with these Charlotta battles. You know, there's that parry, right? It's interesting. It's interesting to have characters with parries. Three games right now I'm playing with characters with parries. Baiken, whose parry is like very specific. Hakumen's parry in Blaze Blue, and now the parry that you don't see very often because Charlotta players like to be bashing them buttons and Blanca in them balls. So you don't get to see the parry too often, but it is sometimes used. If I didn't, like, man, like, it's such a bummer. I just want the win. I want the win against this character so bad. And I get so close, right? Like, this was, sometimes you go up against somebody and it's like, I think I got you. I think I got you. And they're like, actually, you don't. Which is, you know, that's a bummer. I am glad to be back on Lancelot. You know, there's a part of me that maybe wants to look into other characters. There might be... I might try and ask. I might say, like, I'm looking for another character to play just for fun besides Lance. Should I pick up 6 again? Should I fuck about with, like, Avatar Belial for shits and giggles? So I have a couple questions I want to ask people. You know, there's the actually parry in action, right? So you get to see it there. Yeah, I don't know. I think Avatar Belial is just like kind of gnarly looking. So the thing is that he I think he consumes his own HP for attacks. But also, like, I don't know, man. He's like a horny awesome dude. Oh god, I should have, like, Blade Impulse to there or something, right? Oh, the fact that I could not seal this deal here. Fucking nightmare. But sometimes that's just how it goes. Yeah, I'm gonna ask some questions in the chat. Cause I think, yeah, I think I might learn Avatar Belial. Just a little bit. But that means going into the lab and being like, what's this fucker's deal? And going from there. Although Lance is still my main. But it's like, the same way that, like, there's this part of me that really wants to actually devote time to Baiken to have something other to play as other than Giovanna. But also it's like, I don't know, like, the secret thing that I'm actually waiting for in Guilty Gear Strive is for when they bring back Raven. Because I'm a degenerate. I would like that very much. So I'm going to ask about that, I think. I might say, like, hey, I don't want 6. How do people feel about Avatar Belial now that Yeah, AB's been out for a while, and we'll go from there. And maybe I'll just play like some story mode tonight with or like some arcade mode with Avatar Belial to just like learn. I think it'd be kind of fun, right? While this gets exported and uploaded to the interwebs. I'm also looking, by the way, at all the iterative art that I've made for the Skies of Arcadia piece. The Skies of Arcadia thing that we're doing is, by the way, it's the journey across South Ocean, and so we're doing it from the perspective of can't even talk. Vize's journal entries, and I'm adding Artbot stuff in there, specifically GAN art. For those of you who don't know, GAN is a generative adversarial network where two neural networks are competing with each other to create something. So it's two neural networks that take an art prompt and then they iterate over as many iterations as I want. I usually stop at around 1,500 iterations to just see where things can go. So I like that idea. I think it'll be very fun. And then I'm going to fighting games more, clear my head more. I'm gonna just do what I can to do a variety of things. I think it'll be really fun. Yeah, like this is a situation where it's like, man, that parry was actually really good. It's nice to be back in Grand Blue. I think I did okay tonight. All things considered. That was just like raw. I don't know why I threw it. Basically, I think that loses me the match really when you break things down into like their actual constituent parts. Yeah, and that low comes in. That's it for tonight. You can tell I'm tired. We talked about a lot. There's some good stuff in there. I'm going to be back at it. I'm going to try and run sets with people. I'm going to be doing more Strive. Maybe even streaming. And going from there. I said, well, nevertheless. This game rules. Blaze Blue, I think, is the most fun that I've had, but I think Grand Blue is a very fundamentally honest and fun game, and I'm glad to be back in this community, and I want to, I feel like I've let people down in this community a little bit by being so salty about my progress before, and now I just want to try and keep, like, very good mental, like, positive vibes. So some good matches there. I didn't have everything in there. My entire lobby night, like, with waiting and a bunch of other stuff in there was like fucking 3 hours. And then we also had the stuff from beforehand. So we're going to end it here. And I will see you all around. God bless you all. Is that a weird thing to say? I don't know. I love you. See you around, people.